Hi, this is Damien AtHope, and I'm an Axiological Atheist. And I'm here with my guest. Could you please tell us your name and tell us what kind of atheist you are?
Hi, my name is Eneria Atea. I too am an Axiological Atheist.
Wonderful. And for those who don't know, I put it in the description, and I'll also explain it. The easiest way to understand it, it's basically a strong form of atheism or disbelief, and it's a strong form of humanism. And it basically values humans and disvalues concepts like God. Especially it leans towards Igtheism or Ignosticism with an I, not an A. And basically it says that there's nothing to the letters God. G-O-D was no different than F-O-D. There's nothing, no substance to back it up, to prove it. So it's a meaningless term, and until something is proven, you can't add anything to it without being actually, dishonest. All right, so could you tell us, were you always an atheist, or were you raised in religion?
I was raised in religion. I went to different types of churches, but I always questioned it. It didn't make any sense to me. And, of course, at my age, we were taught children should be seen and not heard, so I couldn't vocalize my thoughts, especially about religion, because I will get slapped. But that continued for years, and I didn't know that you could have disbeliefs at that age.
Right.
I thought it is what it is,
Right.
But yeah, pretty much I was raised in religion. My father was a pastor at one time, and so...
Could you tell us what kind of pastor? I mean, for what denomination or?
For Pentecostal church.
Okay.
And I know this sounds terrible. He died, about 10 years ago, and I wish he had lived long enough for me to say, "Hey, Dad, look at me now. I don't believe,"
Right.
But
That's not bad. I mean, you're standing up for yourself. I mean,
it's something I would have never done, But yeah, I take really great pride in who I am and
yes,
not following other people's norms per se,
Yeah.
But like I said, when I was a kid, I was conflicted with not wanting to go to hell if I didn't believe in God.
Right.
And didn't go to hell. I mean, who wants to go to hell? I didn't know how to pray. When they would say, pray to him like he's your father. Talk to him like he's your father. Well, no, because when I talk to my dad, it's usually because he's going to discipline me, and there's fear. So how can I do that? And besides, it's like I'm talking to the air. He doesn't answer me. He'll answer you. You'll have to feel it. No, I don't feel anything other than this is stupid. Well, of course, I didn't voice that. I kept the response to myself.
Right.
So it just never made any sense to me, and I stopped believing in him, but I never told anyone. I just went along with it,
Right.
So I would have to say I must have been about 12 years old when I stopped believing in him. But I like I said, I was closeted. I acted like I believed, but I didn't.
Yeah, for me, I believed all the way until I was 36. I thought that maybe my parents they were both in two different wacky religious stuff, and my dad raised me in a religious cult. My went and lived with my mom, and she was one of the Pentecostals, dancing in the aisles and speaking in tongues. What's that?
That's freaky.
Yeah.
You go to a church and these people are speaking in tongues and whatnot, and you're judging us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I thought that some of that stuff was wrong. I never got the speaking in tongues thing, but I never questioned God. I just always, my problem was I never really thought about it. I never put like reason to it like I do now. I mean, I just assumed they said it was true. It was true. I mean, I don't blindly believe. The only way I gotta explain it. So I went to college, and then I started learning stuff, and I was like, oh, this is nonsense. How did I ever believe this stuff? I mean, what's wrong with me? So, yeah, that's really interesting always for me when I hear people say that they were able to do that without being prodded. So it really shows, you know, that you should be, you know, feel good about yourself. What wisdom you had, especially at such a young age.
I'll tell you what. In retrospect, I realized that when I believed in God, I hated life. I hated me.
Yeah.
Because I felt I couldn't do anything right to warrant his love or respect. It just wouldn't happen. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? I pray. I'm not having sex. I'm being good. I'm doing all these things you're asking me to do. And is he so evil, or is he selective? Is he like playing a bingo game and see whatever number comes up, that's the person he's going to help? I didn't get it. I'm going to tell you, I was suicidal, and I attempted suicide 3 times, and 2 times were within the last 6 years. And it was, you know, the whole 9 yards. I went to the hospital, stitches, and stayed there for weeks and whatever, and it was because I couldn't understand what I was doing wrong, that he wasn't helping me.
Yeah.
I was depressed, and my soul evil. And of course there was other reasons too, you know, health-wise, whatever. But I realized when I stopped believing in him and started accepting all my actions and taking accountability, I feel better. That doesn't mean, and I think a lot of people misunderstand being an atheist, it doesn't mean that, you know, we don't have any more problems or we don't give a shit. No, our problems are still there. We're just dealing in them in a more realistic manner. You know, I'm taking action.
Yes.
Whether it's not good or bad, I'm not saying it's because I forgot to go to church last week. You know?
Right.
And that's how I used to feel up until the time, you know, I tried to commit suicide. So I'm a much happier person.
Yeah, I feel the same way. For me, I always felt wrong. I mean, I'm a very sexual person, and I've always, I couldn't help it. I mean, my entire life, I just, super sexual. Well, I really, you're leaving, that's funny?
I'm laughing because I remember when I was younger, I was like, if God sees everything, is he watching me while I'm having sex? That really fucked with me, you know? It's almost enough to make you a nun.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I my first time I had sex was 7 years old, which I think is really too young in general. But I didn't actually ejaculate or anything. But I mean, it was an older girl. I think she was like 13 or 14, and I was 7. So it's considered sexual assault. But because I never even knew that I could feel, you know, sexual anything until that time. But then it wasn't until 13 I did stuff again, but the whole time in between I'm masturbating and stuff, and being told by my parents, you know, they caught me several times, gonna go to hell, you know, made me watch little things and punished me, and I couldn't stop. I mean, it feels good. I mean, so I felt total shame. I thought, and they told me I had demons, you know, from the thing, so I thought I had demons on me, and I felt guilt and shame, just terrible. But even later in life, you know, I still felt, like you talked about, I felt guilt and shame. I also hated people. I thought homosexual people were bad, and I thought people that didn't believe in God were bad, and all these people deserved hell, including probably me, because I thought I never could stop not having sex. Even though I knew I wasn't supposed to, I couldn't help myself. Or masturbating, it's like all these things are supposedly going to, you know, put me down. I couldn't stop it. So I thought everybody deserved it, and so did I. You know, it's just a negative outlook. And then realizing, you know, after finding atheism, or basically to me the conclusion that there isn't fantasy, like you said, it's just reality, and it's actually been an imagination, you know, withdraw and a reality, you know, increase. And now I realize that this world matters. Don't worry about heaven, hell, some other worlds. This world matters. I matter. What I want, what I need, what makes me happen, what makes me happy. This matters in the here and now. And then how I treat others. Other people matter. Other people have value in a way I never had in religion. So I mean, it's completely like a joyous thing to me being an atheist, although it's hard because people reject you. people in my life. But as far as like how I feel human-wise and how I feel towards love, it's so much better as an atheist.
Well, when we were talking about religion, and now that you mentioned love, I think back to where I was a kid. I thought that anybody in church, they had to be perfect. They must have been some form of angels. I didn't think any harm could happen. But then you hear all the corruption that goes on in church, and I'm thinking, whoa, wait a minute. Now, who is this man? Oh, he's a priest that's molesting kids? And this nun is doing that too? Something's wrong here. But yet, we're supposed to still praise God and worship Him and pray for these people. No, something's wrong here. I do not get it. So it was hard for me to understand, how can I believe in someone that is so holy and such a valor to the community, and they're doing wrong. I just could not get that, and so unlike you, I started disliking people. I didn't trust people in general now. Where before I was so naive, I thought everybody was nice. No. But then when I realized that they're doing these awful wicked things, what about people in general? So, and these are people that go to church. I was scared. I would rather be around a criminal that I know what he's going to commit and do, because it's there. I can see it. I feel safer. But to be around a congregation and all these people that are hypocrites, that scares me.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. I definitely, when I was a child, I definitely saw some hypocrite things. My parents were, when I was living in California as a kid, and my parents were going in Santa Ana. We're going to the Eagle's Nest Church, and the pastor was talking about how Gary Greenwald, how he's so wonderful and everything. And then my dad says, "Oh yeah, my stepdad was in the military, and my stepdad told me, oh yeah, Gary Greenwald, the pastor, wants me to modify his machine gun and make it fully automatic." But you know why? Because the Russians are going to invade. And then we find out, that the congregation finds out that he has, a Porsche and all this expensive stuff. And, then because he's going to do something with the guns, right, I go over to his house. So I go over to his house and he says, "Hey, while we're working on this stuff with the gun," which as a kid, I'm thinking, why is he doing something illegal? Isn't he the pastor? And why is he worried about the Russians invading? And why does he need machine guns? I mean, doesn't he believe in God? I thought he has faith. So and he told me, "Hey, well, while we're doing this, why don't you watch the movie The Godfather?" I'm like, "You have The Godfather?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I have all kinds of movies." And I just thought, what a hypocrite. So I totally,
where I'm coming from on that one.
Yeah. They seem sweet and nice, but they're not really. Some of them are seriously.
All they want is the money. Tie.
Yep.
And thinking, no, you know what? I need money. How about giving me some money instead of just sending me down to a shelter or to a food bank? Do something to help me out while you go back to your Porsche or your beautiful home, So yeah, there's a lot of hypocrisy in church, and I just got tired of it. I feel like I am reborn,
Yeah.
And man, makes me want to cry. I would never go back. Never.
Oh yeah, I couldn't go back anyways. Like I said, I don't believe, and just alone, like another thing that an axiological atheist would say is, no being deserves the title of God. Because God is actually not a name, it's a status title. It's like saying king. It's the same as what they switch it when they say Lord. They say Lord because Lord is a status of authority over it, ruling. And so an axiological atheist say we're equal. No one rules. Men and women are equal, so there's no beings like higher than us, or it would be, even if a being was powerful, they would be equal. They couldn't rule us and tell us how to have sex, tell us how to behave. So even if there was such a being, An axiological atheist would never worship such a being, ever. And would say that if the being of the Bible, and they think like, hypocrite people, was real, then it deserves to be executed, or certainly put in jail, or stopped, because it's harming humanity.
Right. Well, that's pretty deep. I always tell people, just joking around, well, if there's a God, then I'm a goddess. Because if there's anyone that I'm going to praise and look up to, it's me.
Right.
At the end, I'm the only one that really matters in my life, I'm the one that's going to make the changes. So, yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I've had people ask me, if your life depended on turning your back over to God, or they'll kill you. Torture me because I don't like pain, but no, kill me, because I'm not going to be a hypocrite. Those days are over with, I'm gonna die. I'm nonconformist, so I'm gonna die in what I believe in.
Yeah.
And I believe that people need to wake up and stop being brainwashed.
I agree.
Our kids are brainwashed all the time. That makes me so sad. But then remember, that's how we were, But it's like there's no morals. I know people that think that if you're an atheist, you're evil, you have no morals, no ethics. I have more morals and ethics than fucking Christians do, and at least I'm honest about it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like you said about morals, like about Christians, it goes back to the thing you said about torture you. An atheist would not be okay with someone torturing an animal, but Christians are okay with innocent humans being tortured. And call that God that would do that, torture humans, calls that God loving.
It's okay to kill these people, but you're killing them for a good reason. There's so many, I don't understand, so many religions. And I've read about a lot of different religions, and I've looked into them. I'm thinking, help me understand this. This religion says it's okay to have sex with a 6-year-old,
Yeah.
and this religion says it's okay to do this, but I don't see the connection where it's loving.
No.
At all. It confuses me, Yeah. Religion is bad. Really, really bad.
Yeah, well, the one thing that like you said about 6-year-old, one thing to me that really is profound is that almost every religion, especially the major religions of the world, they're all against women. So funny that they're all against women. They're all written by man. So is God, against women? I mean, it's the most ludicrous. That alone should make especially every woman, question religion, period.
When you said that the Bibles and the religions and their laws are written by men, and I don't hate men, but I do hate perverted men. Let me reclassify. I have a saying: I don't care what people do, as long as it's with a consenting adult.
Right.
I don't give a shit. But when it has to do with a child,
child can't consent. As far as I'm saying, yeah. Animals can't consent. Dead people can't consent. People that are drunk can't consent. People that have mental, abilities where they can't think, they can't consent. Yeah.
Get your freak on. I don't care. More power to you. But the thing is, all these men that write all these laws, I'm like, what are you thinking? How can you think that a God would say it's okay to have sex with children, to have sex with animals?
Yeah.
How am I supposed to worship a man and look up to him or a God and think he's the best when I see my animals, because I'm a major animal activist, being hurt?
Yeah.
I don't get it. And actually, in 2011 is when I finally decided to come out. I mean, I was telling you, I was closeted, but and I remember I was coming home from a friend, and I was thinking about a video that was on Facebook on this new thing. It's called crushing. Have you heard of it? It's a
No.
sexual thing where, I don't know if men do it, but women wear shoes, stilettos, and they crush little animals to death. Or big animals.
No, I've never seen that. I know, yeah.
I could not watch it. I didn't even know what I was getting into until I saw bits and pieces. And hearing this little puppy just wailing, I couldn't even turn off the volume fast enough. Well, ultimately they killed this puppy and they thought it was great. I kept on thinking about it, and I was driving home, and people must have thought I was crazy because I was screaming and yelling and crying and, fuck you, God, fuck you. You are no better than me. I am a better person because I have compassion. And I cannot see how you have the power to change. You make the rules. It's your book. You can change the plan. But if you don't, it's because you don't fucking exist. That's how I see it, you know? And I'm not going to, and I would get mad and I would post, you guys are stupid. If God existed, he wouldn't let this shit happen. And he is letting it happen, then you're stupid for believing in someone like that, you know? And so from that point on, I vowed I will never believe in him again. I will never, ever worship him because this world is fucked up. And it's sad because as an atheist, we know that we have the ultimate power of changing things as humans, you know, making things right. People don't choose to. So therefore, it's sad that all these horrible things are happening, but it's up to people to come together and stop it.
Yeah.
How do we do that when people keep having religion put in there, you know? And so it's a battle. It's a constant battle.
It is. And just like you said about what God, if a God was real and had the power to do anything, there's no need to have pain.
Right.
I mean, so all suffering in the world would be on a God's head. All suffering. And why do other animals eat other animals? That's not necessary. You could have made it where, in fact, why do you eat at all? I mean, if you have the power to make a being do anything it want, why even kill plants? Why the need to even eat?
It's a way to eat, you know?
It's so, yeah, it's, you know what I'm saying? I mean, so there shouldn't be any need. If you could do anything you want, had the power to create anything, and perfection creation wouldn't have to destroy things to live. But in a sense, we have to, even if you were a vegetarian, you got to destroy plants. I mean, so the whole system is set up to just everything has to eat and live off of everything else. And then there's funguses that live off of things. There's bacteria. There's parasites. I mean, the entire world is one big, everything is eating each other. And in fact, you and me both have bacteria inside of us. And so again, cancers eat us. And I mean, and there's like thousands of kind of cancers. I mean, and their children die. I mean, there's birth defects. I mean, to think that something loving and highly intelligent and moral created this is ridiculous.
And when people, and you know, it happens every day. Someone opens up their eyes, and I'm like, yay!
Yes.
You know, and it's another seed that we plant. And you know, I am looking for a horse. You know, so when I see new atheists, you know, we're all excited, and we just want everybody to know. You know,
Yeah.
a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was like that when I first came out, and I was telling my family, because most of my family, they're very religious, and I've been removed from Facebook. I've been shunned. I've been told either accept God or, and this is my sister, she just put me out there, okay, on Facebook, or I'm going to have to stop talking to you. And I said, you know what? I don't expect you to change, but I'm not going to waver either. I love you, sister. Take care.
Yeah.
It is, you know? And, but when I see new atheists coming out, you know, I get so excited, and I always want to know, what happened? What caused you to see the light, you know? And it's always interesting, you know, I mean, things that, I mean, it varies, of course. I can't even think of anything right off the top of my head. But we're coming together, and hopefully, you know, the change will be bigger every year, you know? Because it's really hard on us. It's hard, you know, when I meet new people and they come and they want me to go to church with them, and then I have to tell them I'm an atheist, and before that comes on, I'm thinking, okay, either this person's going to continue to be my friend or not. Let me just get it over with, you know, because I'm really sick and tired of it. I'm tired of people being fake, especially when you're Christian. Wait a minute, aren't you supposed to like me either way and not judge me? But yet you're judging me. Help me understand this. I should be your friend because that's what God wants, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that you just explained it there too. Is that just like somebody being gay, you got to come out several times. Like every time throughout the rest of your life, you have to come out. It's not like you come out once. Okay, it's done. Maybe if you're like super famous or something, but if not, you know, you're coming out with everyone you meet. I have the same thing. You know, every time I meet someone or a job or you know, I have to tell them I'm an atheist, and then I have to defend it. I have to. It's not that I all I have to say is I'm an atheist, and all of a sudden, well, why? And why do you hate God? And why are you angry? And what was your childhood like? It's like 50 questions that somehow they have the right to ask me just because I say I don't believe.
Yeah. And again, they judge the most, you know, because I'm a lesbian, as you know.
Right.
And you're right. And you know, most people, because I'm feminine, most people don't think that of me, you know, unless it just comes up, and they're like, why? It's not always because something bad happened to me. Granted, a lot of bad things have happened, but I'm not blaming it on that. It's just who I am. Why can't it be the same way with being an atheist? It's because who I choose to be, because I'm thinking I like this way of living my life. I like being in charge and not doing the stupid shit that, you know, that comes with religion. Well, I'm a lesbian because that's who I am also, you know?
Right.
Just let me be me. And yeah, I get tired of people thinking, oh, she wants. Really, seriously? So you're a heterosexual. So does that mean that every single person that you see, every male or female, wherever you are, you want to be with that person? No. Well, same thing with lesbians, you know? I mean, and also as an atheist, I don't go around carrying a little book like the Jehovah's Witnesses trying to convert people.
Right.
You know? I'm like, give me a fucking break here. You know, they have us head drawn, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, had that happen to me today when I was at the grocery store. This one lady, she looked at me and she goes, oh, you're so colorful. I said, thank you. And she goes, yeah, Jehovah told me to talk to you. And I said, oh, fuck. Okay, so what did Jehovah say? Well, you know, do you like to read? I said, yeah, I read, but I have enough material to read. Well, here, you might want to read this. No, I got to tell you, I'm not into religion. Do you want to know why? No, that's okay. And I thought that's what you would say, you know? So she was nice. She left me alone. I'm so glad she didn't say, I'll pray for you, because I get so old. You know, don't pray for me. I'm into prayer. You can give me some money if you want. You want to do something helpful, you know? But yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they get how offensive it is. They think that they're being nice. But how offensive. It's like saying, if I asked you, if I said, well, I like to eat meat, and you say, well, I'm a vegetarian. And I would say, well, I'm going to eat a hamburger for you.
Yes.
You know, it's like, it's actually offensive. You're really being an asshole, you know?
I know I have family members, well, they don't talk to me now, but they used to say, well, Thea, I'm still going to pray for you. I said, well, do whatever you want to do. It's your time. But you know what? While you're praying for me, I'll be thinking and hoping that you one day see the light too. They didn't like that answer.
Yeah.
I'm like, good. See, that's how I feel, you know? But yeah, it's offensive.
Well, it is offensive. I've done street activism for atheism, where I stand out on the streets and talk to people. What's that?
That's got to be hard. Is it difficult? I mean, some people...
It's not as bad as you think. Also, it's probably always different for me than some people. I'm 6 foot. I'm 400 pounds. I look mean and scary. So I don't generally have too many problems in my life ever about anything. So I mean, I can't speak for everybody. Someone else maybe 5 foot and not look mean. So
125. Yeah, people aren't intimidated by me, okay?
Well, I'm just saying, so I always tell people, my personal experience, I cannot say that's the same for everyone. One time, a person kind of started like he was going to threaten, I was sitting down, I stood up and I was like, okay, you're going to threaten me now, and he backed down. So, I mean, but most people, they just are condescending. They'll be like, I'll pray for you, or God loves you anyways, even if you don't believe. Or they tell me, you believe in God, you just don't know it. And I always, like I was saying, is I see it as a threat. So I tell them, and they say they're going to pray for me. I go, you know what? If you're a really loving Christian, you will not waste your time on someone who's already damned. You want to pray for someone? Pray for starving children in Africa. They need you more than me. Pray for kids in South America. They need you more than me. Pray for poor kids in America. They need your prayers more than me. If you're a real Christian, you will not waste your time on an atheist.
Well, I think I'm going to start saying that because you got a valid point there. If we're not seeking to be saved.
No.
We're comfortable.
Yep.
If you assuming we're going to go to hell, okay, that's fine. Okay, whatever. You're right. Save that energy and use it productively.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's
religion.
Exactly. Well, and for Christians, I've already condemned the Holy Spirit. So actually, that's the one unforgivable prayer. I can't quote off the top of my head what verse it is. I think it's in Luke and in Matthew. But it basically says that if someone blasphemes the Holy Spirit, then they will not and cannot ever be saved. So I always tell Christians, I've already done that.
Well, we're going to go to hell together. And we'll party.
So it doesn't matter. But yeah, it's funny how they think it's really it's a superiority put down. That I always see it as like their trump card or their ace card, because what they'll do is they'll come up and they'll try to debate me, because I don't do street evangelism. In other words, when I do atheism, I usually sit in a chair because I know I'm kind of big, so I usually sit in a chair. Plus, I have a disability where my foot sometimes is hard to walk because of a truck accident. But anyways, I usually sit in a chair just to be laid back. I usually smile at people. I just hold a sign. And then I don't approach anyone. I let people approach me. And then I'm not attacking when they do. But what they'll do is they'll take the role like a Christian is superior, and they're going to teach me. And then they'll say things, and I'll contradict everything they say. And when they realize they're not winning, then they'll say, "Oh, it's okay. I'll pray for you."
I was just thinking right now about my family, how I wasn't invited to a wedding. I wasn't invited to a wedding because I'm an atheist. Give a shit if I'm an atheist or not. Someone's getting married in my family. I would like to attend. I'm a bigger person. I could ignore everything that's going on. I'm just there for the celebration. You're not going to invite me because why? I embarrass you? Or you think I'm going to mock? Well, I will in my head, but I know how to be polite, So I just think about how people slowly, you see their true colors, and it's really sad that families are torn apart because people just can't let us be, Friends, we were talking earlier that we no longer have contact with us because we're atheists,
Oh, yeah.
And stop talking to me. But yet there was a time when she was on her drug craze and she thought she was the Messiah. And I was supportive. I mean, I never said she was, but I would let her rant and go on, but I was there. But yet when I came out to her, I'm all kinds of bitches and cunts and whole course. I'm thinking, wait a minute, is this coming out of that Christian mouth? I haven't even cursed at you. And you're saying all these horrible things to me because I don't believe anymore? Or I finally open my eyes and see clarity? And it hurt me because I lost a friend that really meant a lot. It's not like I fucking killed an innocent person or mass murder or anything. Come on, give me a reason. You're not gonna like me, make it a valid reason.
Right.
But it's like I've lost a lot of people, but on the other hand, I've made a shitload of friends.
Good.
And I thank the internet for it, because mostly all my friends, and I consider them brothers and sisters, and that includes you.
Yeah.
atheist. And I'm like, I get so excited. And I remember the first time when I went on Facebook and I wanted to meet atheists, I didn't know how to go about it. And I would try and try. And then once you meet one person, man, they just swirl. You know, it just happens. It's a domino effect. And it's beautiful. I mean, look how many people you have. You know what I mean?
I have like 5,000.
Yes, I know. And I'm like, well, I don't need like 100 some people. But I get so excited because, you know, they're your friends. Once if you build a rapport, I have a couple that they're from Ireland, and I call them my sister. You build a rapport. You can turn to them when you're down. You know, I don't have to turn to God or a Christian person to counsel me. I have my atheist friends that are there to pick me up if I need that. Why? Because they're not judging me, and they're not going to throw God in my face to make me feel worse. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's great having, you know, access to the internet and meeting other people like that. You know, so it doesn't matter anymore if my so-called friends don't accept me anymore. I'm over that already.
Yeah, and I think that I experienced that too. I mean, I had two of my best friends basically leave me because of being an atheist, and one of them was really my close friend for like 32, 38 years, something like that. I can't remember, was that 34? I don't know. A long time, since like I in high school, and just me being an atheist, and it's not even like he's like a I would call him a pseudo Catholic. Because he's Hispanic. He's not even really, you know, that Catholic. It's more like a cultural thing. You know, I mean, he has cross around his neck with diamonds in it, but I mean, does he really go to church? No. Does he really like read the Bible? No. I mean, so I was really surprised. Plus, he's not into like, you know, gang stuff, and because I did a lot of stuff like that when I was a youth, and he's not as much in it now as he used to be. But anyways. This is the guy that judges me for being an atheist? I mean, what the hell? And we were good friends. I mean, it's like, I just blew me away. Like you said, I mean, it doesn't even make sense. Why all of a sudden, we've gone through so much, you certain, like you said about criminals, you're kind of a criminal. I mean, and you don't even really believe, and yet, just me not being an atheist? I mean, not being a believer, but being an atheist, you know, is enough to stop our friendship?
I mean, what is it? Is it that we don't believe, or is it because we have the courage to say, you know what? I don't like that anymore. I'm stepping out of the box. I think they think that maybe they're envious that we have that strength to go against it and finally say, hey, I feel differently about this issue, you know? I don't know. I think, you know, a lot of people are afraid to be thinkers.
Yeah.
And I think they may be even jealousy, you know? It's like, they wish they could do it, but they can't, or it never will, because they can't go against their family or the religion, and so maybe they're hating on us too, you know? Does that make sense?
No, it does make sense. And I never thought about it. I think it maybe, who knows, maybe it would be okay if I would have been a quiet atheist.
Oh, yeah.
But those good atheists, but I'm a bad atheist because I actually talk about how I feel. So I was just thinking when you were talking about that, I was like, I wonder if he didn't like that I talked about it. I think I probably should clarify. I don't think he had a problem maybe with me not being an atheist. I think he had a problem with me talking about it.
You know, it's funny that you said that, because I have one real good friend, and her name is Cynthia, and I've known her since 1990. And it's funny. Well, she's actually an ex-girlfriend of mine. When we were first together, I used to go to church. She never did. She said blah blah blah. Okay, well, you're going to go to hell, blah, blah, blah. So I would tell her. So now, 27 years later, oh, she's a holy roly Pentecostal church going all the time. And here I am, I'm no longer doing it.
Right.
But the thing is, I am so thankful that we both agree to disagree. We don't She doesn't shove religion down my throat anymore, and I will not talk about being an atheist. And we're okay as long as we don't talk about it. And I think that's beautiful because we're respecting each other's views, you know?
Right.
Unlike other friends that couldn't do that. So I value the fact that she is mature enough to do that.
Yeah, I think that's also a good sign on who you are. See, you that's right. Take it. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I think that there's nothing wrong with accepting, good qualities that we actually... Because, see, what you're exhibiting is good behavior. And I think that good behavior deserves to be commended. So, and I try to do the same thing. I mean, I have some people, like, people are always surprised. They'll come on my page. Like I said, I have 5,000 friends. But I have some people who are believers on my thing. Some people that are pagans, some people that are Wiccans, or some people that are Sikhs or Buddhists or Taoists, or I can't remember all the different ones, but Christian and Islam, and I have a few, not a lot, but I do have some people that are, and I don't ever attack them.
It's funny because I've had like 10 of your friends friend me, and I always crack up because I know, okay, this is going to be Damon's friend. But, before I accept anybody these days, I always look at their profile.
Yeah.
And I feel that they really are, because they can be trolling. Well, then I will, accept their friend request. But, I've had people that are fake and they just want to bash me, So I'm like, oh, no. But you're right. There's this one guy today that I friended, and I think he's... Hindu or something, I thought, wow, check him out, and he's on your page. That's good, because obviously there's a level of respect there,
Yeah.
And I like that.
Well, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. That I commend you also. That's what I was trying to say, is that you're exhibiting a good behavior. I always say that we should attack thinking and not people. See, beliefs do not, to me, have value, but people do. And if you ask me, would I value people or value beliefs or disbeliefs, I value people. I do include me, though, as you mentioned before, as one of those valuable people, which means that I will not devalue me to value you. But
what's the point? The whole point is you need to be an example of who you are and what you believe.
That's right.
If you're in the middle of yourself, that is going to be a hypocrite right there,
Right.
My whole thing is, I love animals. And I just wish more people would just value an animal. A lot of people think, of course, I'm like you. I look wild. I got dreads and tattoos, and I dress like I'm 15, all punk or goth or whatever in between,
Yeah.
And
which I think is cool, by the way.
Thank you. And people say, don't you think you're a little too old? I said, by whose standards?
Yeah.
I age according to how I feel. No one's going to tell me how to dress, how to think, how to eat, how to wipe my ass. No one. Yep. Those days are done. I can dress whatever way I want to. You choose to live by stigmas and labels? Go right ahead and be miserable, because down deep inside you wish you could be rebellious.
Yeah.
You wish. But the thing is, I am going to be who I am no matter what. I'm going to continue to trip people out because they look at me and they think I'm this wild, irresponsible, probably incarcerated, drug addict type of person. And I'm like, you can be further from the truth. I'm sweet. I am a really sweet person. I'm kind. I'm giving. I help animals. I help anybody I can. And I like that people have that misconception of me, because you shouldn't judge people like that,
Yeah.
And so it's good that I'm an atheist. I'm a minority. I'm a woman. I'm a lesbian. And all these wrapped up together, and I'm still a phenomenal woman, because I still care about the environment. I still care about children. I still care about my animals. There's so many things I care about, and people should look at us for who we are as people. That's what should matter. People should say, man, that's one hell of an atheist. you know what? I guess being an atheist is not a bad thing. No, damn right it isn't a bad thing, you know?
Yeah.
So that's, I just add that in.
No, I know. I experience that all the time. My book is going to be coming out soon, and I'm going to probably be doing speaking and stuff, and I have being more in the public eye. And I've already had people say that they don't think that I'm a good representation of atheism because I'm too strong, because my views are too different. I'm too different politically, I'm too different on sexuality, I'm too different on gender, I'm too different about style, why can't you just dress, not in black? Why do you have to have a red beard? Why?
If you were a preacher, you'd be the best out there, wouldn't you? They want a strong preacher with strong beliefs,
Yeah. So I like you said though, but I don't even think it's rebelling. I'm being me. Mm-hmm. This is what I like. Like someone asked me before, why do you like skeletons and stuff? It makes it look scary. 'Cause I fucking like skeletons. I'm goth. I'm rock. I've always been, punk or whatever. I mean, I got, like you said, I got tons of tattoos too, all up my arm and everything. And
like outside.
Yes.
It's just like some people like Picasso.
Yes.
Some people like opera. It doesn't make that person any less important than me.
Yes.
We all have our disbeliefs, our likes, dislikes, whatever. That's what makes it beautiful, So, no, you are a great advocate. You are beautiful to me, I don't mean that flirtatious white.
Well, speaking of that, I mean, have you ever read my profile? I guess not. I have an open marriage. My wife is bisexual.
Where are you?
We just left for a second. I would say we have an open marriage. My wife is bisexual. We've dated women together, and we've gone to strip clubs. We lived at nudist resorts. I mean, I have. So, I mean, my point is not to brag or anything. I'm just making a point that. But I've been attacked for that, and we're poly. I would like to have another wife, especially one that's bisexual, that we can, date together or be in a relationship together. But it doesn't really matter. All I'm just saying is it's funny how they'll attack that. I've been attacked and unfriended by people that were atheists because somehow I don't love my wife or I'm not being respectful. And just like I don't have a problem too if you flirted with my wife and had nothing to do with me, what does that matter? If my wife wanted to date you without me, what does that matter? But that's also because I think different.
It's interesting because I was just telling a friend the other day that if the whole world was poly, I think we'd all be happy. There would be no more jealousy.
Yeah.
We just have one big old giant, well, I shouldn't say it like that, but we all just love one another equally. You know what I mean? It'll save a lot of problems, a lot of heartaches.
Yeah. I always tell people, and I know what you're saying. I always tell people, I'm not saying it's right for everyone. It is right for me, and just like
not right for everybody.
Right. Yeah, just like you said. I'm just saying that. So I don't try to put other people down. If people want to be celibate, I support that. I support what you being true to you. It's like I don't tell everyone to have red beard, but don't tell me I can't. It's like you. I told you, I do like your style. I think that your style is rocking. That's the style I would do. I mean, if I was a female, I would do something that was cool too. But that's just because I'm being me, not because I'm trying to, and I'm not saying this is the only way to be. But it's funny how they feel like the right to say it's only to you. But I also try, like I said, I do agree that more people should be poly. Because they probably truly are. And I think they would be a lot happier. And so I'm not saying I don't agree with that, but I don't know that it's right for everybody because I think some people are just naturally. I don't even think it's just jealous that they're more focused. Like some people really focused on their cat, and they don't really want a relationship or something. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think some people they focus different. Me, I kind of like you. I'm a free spirit. It's kind of hard for me to be like focused on stuff. And why? I'm kind of creative, and and my whole life is like that. How I do my art, how I do everything. I mean, so it's for me to feel like I have to be like, it's just.
And forced to do just one thing.
Right.
You wouldn't be happy.
Right, exactly.
I always say, I'm like a butterfly. Actually, I'm more like a moth, a little stronger there. But yeah, I just have to go, 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 go. And if you don't like something about me, that makes me like me even more.
Yeah.
People think that they're insulting me and making me feel bad because they don't like my appearance or whatever. I'm like, oh no, honey. Don't you know, you just made me realize how shallow you are and how great I am.
Yeah.
Because unlike you, I'm walking in the opposite direction. I don't need to be guided blindly. I remember my son was young. I would let him dress any way he wanted when he was a kid. I mean, he could wear whatever, mixed match, and it was the best thing I ever did. People used to say, oh, why do you do that? Because he has to be creative. Kids need to be allowed to express their creativity because that's what will mold them, you know? And so, yeah, I wasn't allowed to do that as a kid. But goddamn if I'm not doing it now, and nobody's going to stop me, you know? And I think we should all have a pink beard if that's what we chose to do, and you know, whatever. Yeah.
No, I think that's, and what's interesting to me is why in the atheist community are we not more open to that? I mean, it's like if we don't have religion saying we have to fit a box, for me, I just don't get why some people feel like that we need to still have boxes. I mean, to me, I care about all people. I care all styles, all things. It doesn't really, you know, but you know, everyone's different, and I accept that. But so that's why I always say that, like in feminism, I see the person as political. In other words, like what you're doing by being you is actually doing something political. Just like me, just like being an out atheist. We're making change just by being us.
Yes. And I think that the community, it's like you were saying, you have different types of atheists, you know? And I mean, I guess it falls on anything, you know? And religion, and even being gay, you know, there's some people within that, you know, areas that they feel that we should act a certain way. You know, certain, like you said, atheists. Well, no, we as atheists shouldn't draw negative attention. We should act like this. No, fuck that. Because even as a gay person, there's people that are gay, very feminine, and they act as straight as they are until they walk into their home and hey, honey, you know, all the shit. That's terrible that you have to have these double standards, you know? We shouldn't be like that. We should be able to be ourselves 100% and be okay with it.
I totally agree.
I don't think because we segregate ourselves from what we're trying to build, you know? Yeah.
Totally agree. I try to make sure I point that out as often as possible. And that's why, like I was going to say, is one of the reasons I used to have 300 friends, and then I got into real arguments and stuff with them, and I wanted to burn down my whole Facebook account. Fuck everyone, I don't give a shit, you know, and I dropped it down to, like, I can't remember now if it was 100 or 50 or 70 or what, I can't remember now. But anyways, I like unfriended a whole bunch of people. Fuck the world, and then I realized maybe I'm doing this wrong. You know, maybe I can think different, because, you know, instead of trying to fight everyone, maybe I can try to teach them. Maybe since I feel like that things need to change, maybe I can start doing stuff to change things. And
well, I could tell you that looking at your page and everything you post, you put a great impact in my life.
Thank you.
I talk about you all the time to people, or I forward stuff all the time, because we need someone to look up to give us information, not guide us per se, unless you need the guidance, you know?
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. But there's a lot of new atheists that don't know where to go, or they need support, emotional support. And so when I see your information up there and your I love your poems. Oh, my, your poetry is just
thank you.
Gasmic, I swear. You know, it's like, it's beautiful. People need you.
Yeah.
And I think that you're doing an awesome job. Keep it up. And I have bad memories, so I'm going to try to remember. Is your book going to be out in the stores, certain stores?
My book is going to come out online, and it will be able to be available maybe in stores, but first it'll be online. It'll be in print form, and it will be in e-form, and it will be out in a few months. It's being edited right now. I already did it. I've been working on it for 3 years, and so it's being edited. And what I wanted to do was basically make a book that would have made me an atheist. In other words, like, I know there's a Peter Boghossian, a philosopher, made a book called A Manual for Creating Atheists, about how you can turn other people into atheists, which is a good book. Mine for the beginning was, I wanted a book that you can just hand to someone who you don't even talk to, and if they actually read the book, they will probably turn atheist just by reading the book. That I have made such a case against an explanation that the book itself will do the work. You won't have to talk. You don't have to know anything. The book will do that. And so because I really care. It's not about some people do it because they're angry. I'm not angry. I really care. That's what I was realizing when I was 10. I went down to almost no friends, and now I have a lot. What changed for me was I started to care. I started to say, you know what? Instead of being angry and feel like I'm fighting everyone, I'm going to stop being angry and start caring. All these people matter. Man, I remember how sad, like you talk about suicide, how scared, how alone, how wrong I felt. I'm going to start really caring, and I'm going to be totally open. That's why I tell everyone about my life, my sexuality, about my gender, about anything. I just tell it all. Because I realize I want to make, I'm mildly intersex. I tell everyone everything. Because I want to remove shame. There's no shame. I want to make, and I'm willing to risk. I'm willing to be, but not because I want, but because I care. If I can just get to a few people and make them feel okay, then that's what matters.
Because I'm sure there's people out there that are going to read your book and say, "Oh my God," that's just out of habit, okay?
Yeah, I know.
I still do this. Out of habit, and I crack up. So I tell the kids, it has a different meaning now. Okay, just leave it alone. But you're gonna touch people that probably may have some of the situation, conditions, or life events that you've experienced, and that's gonna make them feel like I'm okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, for sharing. Because a lot of people aren't willing to open up and say all these things, about their personal life. So it's important. You're a good man.
Well, thank you. Well, like I said, I realized that I wanted to be someone that I would look up to.
Yeah.
And so someone that I would admire, and I said I'm going to start behaving like that. That's why I really changed right there. And also one of my friends online, Chastity Chanel, she's a real caring and good mother to her kids. And I told her, that's the kind of person I want to be. I want to be kind like that. I want to be understanding like that. I want to make a difference. I want to do something. I do think life has value. It's the value we give it and the people in it. So I realized that. So that's when I started telling people that I'm willing to accept friends. And then I would talk to people, and I tried, and I've been still trying to do it, educate people, and people have attacked me. They come on thing and say, don't do this or don't do that, or don't put. I had one guy tell me, you post good stuff, but quit posting cat pics. I said, well, that's me too. I'm being honest. I really like it. I like little dogs and little cats. I like cats now more. I have 2 cats, but it's just me. Like some guy even said, maybe I'm just gay. I'm not gay. I'm just being me. And I told him, well, you do understand that I am intersexed and genderqueer, so if I don't seem like I fit your male role, I don't. And I'm okay with that.
These people have to attack you like that because you would think, even as a man, you would think they would be thinking, wow, he's got a lot of balls to be able to come out there and be himself. Kudos for the male gender, because he's trying to break barriers.
Yeah.
That's the thing,
well, as you I'm sure you've experienced yourself. That would be great if people thought that way. People usually don't. I always say that it's to me it's simple that people don't understand things, And the process of what usually goes like this. The things that we don't understand, we come to fear. The things that we fear, we learn to hate. And the things that we hate, we usually seek to destroy. And so that's what they do.
Yes. Wow, that's who made this quote up?
What's that?
Who wrote this quote?
No one wrote this quote.
You made this up right now? You coined it?
No, I didn't coin it right now. No, it's I read something that was kind of like that. I don't know by who. A long time ago. I tried to look up. I even wrote the quote in Google search. Nothing comes up. So I didn't I read something. I thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was by Napoleon, but it's not. I don't know. I'm very creative too. So I mean, I write poetry. I think I heard something that was kind of, something, and it made me think of it, because, like I said, I wrote the quote, and no one has that quote. So
yes, you're absolutely right about that, though. I mean, well said. Things that we don't understand, we fear.
Right, and things we fear, we learn to hate.
Yes,
and things we hate, we seek to destroy.
Every day we wake up.
Yep.
In those spots,
Right.
Yeah.
And then, well, I finish it. I've always finished it with, so it's on us to try to understand, and it's on us to not follow the cycle of fear, because that is the problem. Is when we allow fear to run our behaviors, it always ends up in harm, self-harm and other harm.
Yes. Yes, you're absolutely right. And I'll tell you what, though, when you add religion with that,
oh yeah,
it's worse, because then you have that guilt. And I've known people that have taken their life because the shame they got from religion,
I totally agree.
And the fear and everything, all the negative stuff, and it's really, really sad, that fear will make you or break you.
Yeah, a lot of times guilt really is a form of fear. Because really what guilt is afraid that you've done something wrong. And also, with religion, it adds in the fear of something wrong that I will be punished for. It's also the fear of not being accepted, the fear of rejection, kind of thing. It's also the fear of self-wrongness. That there's actually something, I'm afraid there's something wrong with me.
And then you're letting everybody down, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Fear of failure. Right, yeah.
Yes.
Right, so guilt is a word with a grouping of a bunch of fears.
Well, the only time I'm okay with guilt is when I eat maybe more dessert than I should. It's good guilt, though, okay? Because I'm like, fuck it. But no, I'm just trying to be funny, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I try to say that if I feel guilt today, usually it's because I've acted in a behavior that was harmful to other people or myself. And so I try to not accept. Like, I used to think that it was okay to be angry. Then I felt it was wrong to be angry. Now I realize, to me, anger is not what's wrong. Anger is like an alarm system. It's warning you that something wrong happened. Because you don't get angry for nothing. Usually you got angry for a reason. But it's like an alarm system on your car. As soon as it goes off, you turn it off.
Right.
You go out and check your car, and either it's safe or it's not safe, but you turn the alarm off. Either way. So what happens in anger, we have to do the same thing. When we get angry, we have to turn it off.
Right.
Investigate what's wrong and try to fix it if we can.
The funny thing is that's a really good analogy. Too bad people don't really think about it like that, but you're right. It's like check engine light just turned on.
Right.
Check it out. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's an emotion that, we're born with.
Yes.
And it's for a good reason. It's not bad.
That's right.
Anger is not bad. It's
right.
like you said, it's a warning.
That's right.
How we deal with the problem.
That's right. Right, so I try to do now is I try to say anger is, like you said, is an emotion, and I don't allow it to become a behavior.
Right, right.
Because we usually allow it to become a behavior. That's when it's wrong. The emotion isn't really that bad. It's when we allow it to become anger, it become a behavior to where we start treating people bad, treating ourselves bad.
It becomes destructive, yeah.
Yeah. So, would you say that you've experienced welcoming in the atheist community, or do you feel a part of? I mean, you said you had some friends stuff, or do you feel there's standoffish of the atheist community?
I haven't met too many standoffish, rigid type of atheists, you know, and I'm thankful for that because I'm a very colorful person.
Right.
So I need to mesh with people that are not judgmental and are going to embrace me, because, you know, atheists or not, we are people. We have our quirks and our likes or dislikes in people. So, you know, you're not gonna like everybody. I'm cool with that, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm very fortunate that I've been welcomed, and I'm part of the community. I'm not here locally, but, you know, online, and that is fabulous for me. It's just, it's like my religion in a sense, you know. Congregate with these people, you know.
Yeah.
It is beautiful, and yeah, I've been welcomed.
That's good. So have you felt welcome too as a lesbian, as an atheist, or has that not had any effect?
You know, thus far, the people that know about me, they've accepted me, you know. I don't go around saying, hi, I'm an atheist. Oh, by the way, I'm a lesbian too. You know, I don't do that.
Right.
But I will say I'm an atheist. For some reason, being a lesbian doesn't really, it's not a priority as far as how I want people, whether they think or not. Being an atheist is a priority, because that is the person that I choose to think like. You know what I mean? That's what molds me. My sexuality, that's sexual orientation, I have nothing to do with that, you know. I choose to be an atheist, and I want people to understand why. I want to share, I want to educate just like you, you know. So that's more important to me. So if people want to accept me as a lesbian or not, that's okay. I've had some people in the past not accept it, but that, you know, because they think that you're a lesbian, you're going to want to have sex with all girls, including little girls.
Yeah, that's fucking stupid.
I don't think so. If you like boys, then I should be worried that you might want to do something with my little boy or something. No, that's different. What's fucking different? There's no difference, you know? Yeah, no.
Yeah, well, do you know that the average for, speaking of that, I know a lot about sexual stuff, because I took, the reason I became an atheist was in college. The reason I was in college was to be a drug and alcohol counselor. So I was doing, you know, psychology was my degree. And so I was very interested in sexual stuff. Everyone has to learn anyways. But because it really affects people, because I like to know the why of things. Like, how it happens, but the why. Why does it do that? Why does, when that happen, why does it change?
School as a kid.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, my teachers hated me. They hated me because I would always raise my hand, but why? Why? And kids would look at me and like, oh, there you go again.
Right.
It got to the point where I stopped asking questions because they didn't care enough to explain. And
Yes.
I thought, am I stupid? I really thought I was stupid. Well, then I can realize later on, no, actually, I'm the smartest one there because I was not satisfied with their answer. I wanted more details.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's really wisdom in general. That that's why for me, you know, it's hard for me to stop at a thing. I always say that, you know, I have an open relationship with the truth. I want new truth. If there's new truth, I don't go, oh, don't show me, you know. I want to know. If I need to change, I'll change. But so knowing the why, and one of the things like especially about sex is, why is it that sexual abuse is so much worse than physical abuse? Why is a rape worse than being beat up? If someone beats you up, or if someone doesn't do any physical violence but just rapes you as a form of violence, why is that so much more life-destroying than being beat up? Why does it cause more fear, more self-hatred? It doesn't make sense. There has to be something. Because think of this. Let's just say for something, I don't know, I'm not quoting anything, I don't know how long rapes take, but let's just say that a rape takes an hour or half an hour. If someone were to beat you up for an hour or half an hour, it still wouldn't be the same. But in the physical, I know it isn't. So I'm just saying is, but the sensation, so I'm talking about sensation. The sensation of physical violence would be more pain-wise, but emotionally, the rape would be worse. And so
I said to that because I've been there on both. Personally, I don't even like to talk about rape because I've been raped many times by many different men.
Right.
And I would rather be beat. I'll tell you why. Because raping me is like breaking into my home. To me, you just violated my home. I don't have that sanctuary anymore.
Right.
It would beat me, and I could deal with that. But if someone breaks into your home, don't you feel violated? And then from that point on, you're always cautious, you know. But that's just my theory.
No. I'm that's what I'm trying to say is that I validate that the rape is more.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that as a counselor, the sexual stuff in general very interests me because why does it have such a big? It's like a massive. The impact is life destroying sometimes. I mean, one instance even for 10 minutes can ruin your whole life. That to me as a counselor is like why is that? What is it? I agree with you. It's hurting the person in violating their trust. It's violating their
One person could move forward in their lives, and like you said, a 10-minute rape could destroy a person forever.
Yes.
Why? And I thought about that too. Could it be that this person's way of thinking is stronger? I mean, it could be a lot of things put together, and it's sad because, not knowing what you can do or say to help that person, I mean,
right.
Yeah, it's
So the reason I was bringing that up is that I read a lot of stats on sexual abuse and stuff. So I wanted to tell you, and you're saying about lesbians liking little girls. First off, okay, so women only make up 10% of sexual violence. 10%. Okay, men make up 90%.
I didn't know it was that low.
Yeah, it's 10%. Okay, of sexual violence. Okay, out of the 10%. Okay, 5%, half, are strangers, and half are people that know the people. Which is not the same for men. It's like 50% are fathers or stepfathers. 80% are known to the family, or the person, and then the rest are strangers. So it's different for women. First off, they're less, and then the percentage is different of. Okay, now women usually only violate. This is their issue. They only violate mainly two kinds. Not that you need to know all this, but I'm just telling you. So if someone ever says anything, you can inform them. Yeah, I wouldn't really worry about women. Only 10% of the time, women are even doing anything. So I don't know what you're so worried about. So I think when no one worries about the Girl Scouts having lesbians, well, yeah, because you don't. It's really not them. Women don't really do that much sexual violence in general. But I'm just saying, not that they can't. But so the two kinds that women usually do is teenagers because they think they're in love, they think they're actually adults, and this is facts. I'm not making this up.
No, I believe you.
Yeah. So and then the other one is actually almost like babies because they don't believe that the baby's going to remember. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that it's not going to remember, so they're not being harmed.
Never thought about it.
I don't either, but I didn't even know people did that. But the thinking is, I'm just saying what they say, the sexual abusers, what they say is that the baby's not harmed because it won't remember. So I'm not agreeing with it. I'm just explaining.
Right. No.
So
you're just educating me. That's
right. I'm educating you. So I'm saying. So if anyone ever says to you, those are the two major kinds. one is because the woman is thinking they're not being hurt.
Right.
So it's different than some of the way males approach it. There's way different for men. There's everything from they think they're in love to they actually want to hurt them. So it's I'm just saying it's not the same. So usually for women, like I said, it's not to say there's not some women that hurt kids because they want to hurt them. Some do, but I'm saying that the most common are those two kinds. Which to me, anyone who want to do anything with babies is.
I'm stuck on that one. I can't even believe you can even fathom that idea. A baby.
But so I'm just saying that it's not even really very true to try to say. And I agree with you. There's already been no study, okay, that shows that homosexuality has anything to do with sexual abuse. In fact, if you look at the stat numbers, really, heterosexual men commit more. I think it was like 75% of all sexual abuse. I think it was that. I don't remember exactly, but it's something close to that. Is the amount of heterosexuals that are doing with women or girls, not women, but are underage girls. They're usually the ones that are doing sexual violence against underage. So. It would be more true to say, like you said, that heterosexuals are worse than homosexual because even though you hear about it more, that's just because you hear about it more because you like to talk about it.
I think a lot of people that ask me, well, not so much now that I'm older, but when I was younger, did it happen to you cause you to be a lesbian? Or I've had women that, I call them trisexuals. They want to be with a woman because they said, you know what, they're better than women, understand women better. I'm like, what world did you just come from? No, honey, it doesn't work like that. Believe me, the lesbian or the gay community is just as fucked up relationship-wise as a heterosexual. So if you think by being with a woman is going to solve your problems because you have bad experiences with men, then you're doing it for all the wrong reason. No, I'm pretty sure that there has been, people that have become gay. Well, actually, I knew someone, and I still don't understand it. I knew this one guy that he had been raped by a family member, and then he says that made him think about wanting to be with men, and he became gay. But I told him, no, honey, I think that maybe he, unfortunately, gave you a sensation that, you should have experienced with him. It's a normal sensation,
right.
But unfortunately, it came from it was a bad touch from him. And, yeah, I think you already were, predisposed to like men. You just didn't know that. And for you to want to say that you being raped by a man is the reason you're gay, I wouldn't want that, personally, because that wouldn't make me happy. No, I'm just going to say that I'm a lesbian because of what's happened to me. No, it makes it easier, but no. That doesn't make sense.
That's not a valid thing. First, I know a lot of stats on stuff about sexuality, like I said. So first off, when you said about relationships in the gay community being no different, I would say it's true and not true. It's true that I agree that everybody always has issues. It's not true that it's equal. Okay, as far as what you get out of it. Now, they all may fight, so that part is true. They all may fight, and there's definitely domestic violence in lesbians, domestic violence in gay couples, and in heterosexual. But what I'm talking about is the relationship itself. The stats have proved that lesbians have the best love relationship, that gay men have the best sex relationship, and that. What's that now?
And the best jobs. Man, they always have nice houses and vehicles. What's up with these lesbians, Yeah.
No, what I'm saying, so relationship-wise, but that it just goes to more to needs of people. So it's not that heterosexuals can't have good relationships. They can, but they usually don't have as many recurring love relationships as lesbians and don't have as much sex as usually gay men. So, but I'm just saying, so it's not equal. It's not totally the same. But I would say that, how we treat each other is pretty much, like you said, like, do you cheat? Well, lesbians cheat, straight people cheat, gay men cheat. I mean, so if you're hoping that kind of stuff, or like I said, domestic violence happens in all of them. So if you're hoping that somehow that but I agree.
No, it doesn't happen like that. Yeah.
So I do agree that when it comes to people that people don't become something. I think that in general we start with the wrong. I've said this before, and someone even got mad. But it comes back really the same thing that psychology's proved, that everybody really isn't as heterosexual or as gay as we think we are. First off, just like when you say 1%, whatever, bisexual. They've done studies, okay, and they hooked up a thing that they can test how much you're turned on, and they show women pictures of women. All women are attracted to nude women. I mean, it's just men are not the same way. Men are attracted to usually what their sexual orientation, but that's just looking at a picture, okay. So when it comes to that, in a sense, all women are in a sense sort of bisexual or whatever, okay, or lesbian. When they show pictures of naked men, some of the women that are heterosexual get turned on. Almost no lesbians get turned on. So it does show that there is definitely a difference there. So all women are attracted in a sense to women, but it's not equal. Okay, so when men, no matter if they're bisexual, gay, or heterosexual, are shown porn, shown the actual act of having sex, all men get turned on. Whether it's gay porn, straight porn, and this is, gay men get turned on by seeing, not that it's their favorite, but they do get somewhat stimulated by looking at heterosexual porn, just like heterosexual men get turned on seeing gay porn.
The excitement, you already know how the feeling is, because
Right.
I feel the same way too. I mean, it's been years since I watched porn, but I didn't care if it was whatever. It could be S&M, it could be gay, it could be women, it could be whatever. I always felt a twitch of excitement, you know? It doesn't mean necessarily that I want to do that particular act. I think it's just the human nature just kicks in, and you start thinking about that sensation that you like.
Right, so that's what I'm trying to say, is what they found out is that even though people are a certain thing, I do think people are gay and people are heterosexual, but how we conceive of that or think of that is not really correct. We see it as like hard lines with like bubbles around them or something, nothing gets in or out, and yeah, that's not really reality. So like you said, we're humans. I mean, we're emotional beings, and that's why I think it's important. So can people be motivated one way or another? Maybe, because we're emotional beings. But we are really, as you said before, we really truly are who we are. So it's not like we become something. We're just more emotionally pushed towards one way or another. So, yeah.
I totally agree. And then, I think it's like that in anything you do in life, If some people are more sexual than others, some people are more into sports, who you hang out with, you may be influenced by what they participate in, And so sex is all different. I like the way.
Yeah. Well, I think, like you said too, I think it has to do with people don't realize a lot of things also is our personalities. Like you said, some people are more excitable and some are not. Some people are not very excitable. So even if they did, let's say a lesbian who's not excitable may not be that much into women, If she doesn't have sex, maybe it'd be no big deal. Another lesbian may be super into sex. Same with the gay men. I mean, Tim Gunn, do you know who that is? He's on it's Project Runway? I think Project Runway. Tim Gunn, anyways. He said that he's asexual. He's gay but asexual, where he doesn't have sex very, So I think that that's our personality. It's like another aspect of us that you could even be something. It doesn't mean, like you said, just because you're a lesbian doesn't mean you like everybody, or just because you're.
You're right. And you know what? And I have a lot of admiration for people that can come out of the closet and say I'm asexual.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing wrong with that. I think I like to claim I'm asexual if I don't feel like having sex today. Okay. But no, seriously though, that is good, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know. It doesn't make you less sexual. It doesn't, It's your personality.
Yeah, that's right, and I agree, and I think that's what I try to in general say is that we should value people,
Yes.
and I always say I want people to be authentic. I want to hear the real you, and whatever that is. I mean, if it's you, it's not you. That's fine. I don't think unless you're like hurting or against people, then I have a problem with it. But I mean, if it's just really about you, then there's nothing wrong with it. That's just about you. And,
I think another problem I have, though, is I try to be happy, and I love humor, and I try to find something pleasant every day in my life. And I swear I do not like Debbie Downers. I do not like people that complain, and there's nothing positive, and they bring you down.
yeah.
Because you get drained that easily, and that's probably the only people that I really tend to try to avoid in my life. I won't even establish friendships with them because then I'm gonna end up like them. Like I was saying earlier, we tend to gravitate towards people that we have something in common. It's something hopefully good. But if I'm around people that are negative, well, guess what? I'm gonna be negative too. I'm gonna start assessing my life and think, well, maybe my life isn't this great. We need more happy people.
Yeah, I think we do, and I definitely am one who tries to do that. Like you said about my poetry, that's definitely a part of me. I really see a value in life, and I have an ability to express it, and so I do, and I know some people probably think it's weird that someone big and tough like me can write poetry, but it's
you, yeah, that's not the norm,
Yeah.
And that's what makes it beautiful. You're fair, you're fair. But your poetry, honestly, when I first started reading some of it, I was like breathless. Literally, I would be holding my breath sometimes because I would take myself to that moment that you were in. I was like, oh my God, this is. I mean, it was. And I'm not trying to be, sexual here, but a lot of your poetry, the way I perceived it, it just made me.
So I have a question. You keep saying sexual. Is it wrong if it was? Because I'm not judging you. I'm just making a question because you keep saying it. Because my feeling is this: it shouldn't be wrong if it was. That's all. Because to me, there's nothing wrong. So if it was sexual, it's okay. And I'm not trying to give you permission because I don't have permission for your feelings. All I'm saying is I'm trying to make the reoccurrent current for you. You keep saying it, and I feel like you're telling yourself it's not okay, and I'm telling you it is okay if it's for you. It doesn't even have to be towards me. Maybe it's just towards you.
No, the reason I apologized was because I didn't want, I don't want people to think that your poetry is about that. It's just my demented mind that goes there, and that was a beautiful feeling for me, So
yeah, but it's not demented. Sorry, it's not demented. You keep making it negative. That's all I'm trying to say. It's not negative. It is okay to express feelings. And it is okay to have sexual feelings, whatever they are, and it is okay for you to have feelings that don't match the norm. Why does it have to? What norm? I always tell people. So, and actually, I do have some sexual poetry. I don't post it very often because usually people get offended. So I sometimes I don't. I mean, everyone's different. I have 5,000 friends. I'm going to piss off somebody all the time, but I make someone happy all the time too. So. So, and in fact, now that you said that, I think I'm going to post something or post 2 or 3. I'll post 3 sexual poems out of the blue, and it'll be because of you. Fuck them. So.
I'll be looking forward to them. I'm saying, okay, I'm going to be so sexual now. But your poetry is deep.
Thank you.
It's really, and that's, and it's too bad there's people that don't like poetry, and I have a hard time with that. I just don't understand. How can people not like poetry? But I mean, it is what it is,
Yeah, my wife's that way. It broke my heart, really. I mean, because I wrote this poem to her with such feeling. In fact, the poem is so touching. I've read it to women. They said they would marry me just by hearing the poem.
Wow.
And my wife goes, yeah, what is it about? I don't get it. I was like heartbroken. But I had to realize, like you were saying, you know, I don't understand it, but I have to understand that she doesn't understand it.
It's a personality thing.
It's a personality thing. So, and I love her for all kinds of reasons, and my ego had to be less than my affection for her. So I had to say, you know what, I care about her as her, authentically. And that means that she doesn't like my poetry.
But she loves you.
But she loves me, so hey, you know. Because, and also I think it's interesting too, because it seems like she gets me in a way and it seems like you get me too, a way that a lot of people don't. It's like they if I don't fit every single little thing that they want, then I'm not okay. But for her, I don't have to fit anything, and I'm okay because she sees the real me. I'm really caring, I'm really loving, I really value her and people, and so that's what matters. All the other stuff is like, who cares?
And you know what? You are very fortunate. That is beautiful. I get to meet a partner.
Yeah.
Like that. You know, sometimes we think we do, and then you realize it hasn't happened. I've met friends like that, but unfortunately, it was just friends, and I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
You don't have to date, you know? I don't know them all, but I'm still hoping.
Yeah, well, I found her online. I was living in California. She was in Colorado.
Oh, that is too funny.
Wow.
Wow.
And I talked to her, and we talked for like, I don't know, 23 hours or something. It was like ridiculous. My jaw was like hurting from talking. And I was like, I've never met someone that I connect with on. It's like I have all these things that what reason I found her too, it was I was willing to not look in California. I was willing to not be limited. I was like, I really want to find a deep relationship. And like a job, you don't go, well, I'm only going to do it next to my house. You know, you're willing to drive. I mean, you have to be. So I just was like, I'm willing for whatever that's right, because right is my life is important. I value my happiness. So I said that, you know, I'm going to approach dating the way I would approach a job, and the fact that number one is the job has to fit my needs. And then the other thing is I have to fit the job. You know, because I think that's in a relationship sometimes, like, say if I found someone who likes everything of me, but I don't like nothing of them. That's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? So I had to be willing to change how I approach it. Before, it's like, if I love sex. And like you're talking about, some people don't attract to people. I almost want to fuck every woman. I mean, I don't, old, young, I mean, above 18, but I mean, different styles. I don't know. I just like them all. I mean, but
That's just hormonal. I mean, you just want to get off.
Right. I just want to get off. So, but I realized that was running how I was having relationships. I had a relationship like 2 months, 3 months. I mean, nothing ever lasts. I mean, I thought if it ever lasts a year, I'm marrying her. But so, what's that?
How long have you been married?
We've been married for, I think it's almost 10 years. We've been together 11 years, and we've been open marriage for 9.
Congratulations, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I've had pets longer than that, but not relationships.
Yes, like I said, I'm just saying. So how I feel like I kind of did it was I changed how I was doing. Just like on Facebook. How did I go from no friends to lots of friends? I changed what I was doing. I realized that if I want different, I have to be different. If I really, did a lot to be different. And so I inspire people. They say, oh, well, this or that. I don't know. Be open. I'm not saying that miracles are going to happen, but if you're willing to say, like, if you say, I'm willing to move to Minnesota because there's a perfect woman for me, you have to be willing to do that. I mean, because there could be how about if you have to go to Australia? Maybe you have to move to Australia. Perfect woman, Australia. So if we stop limiting, that's all I'm saying. For me, I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm just saying that for me, I realized I have to stop limiting what's right for me. Maybe I have to go live in South America. I mean, I have to do what's right for me. And so I realize it's me that has to change. If my goal is I really want a relationship, then I have to stop limiting where that comes from. So, just an idea that I always tell people that's...
Absolutely right. And then the work that goes into it. A lot of people stay stuck or think it's always going to be the honeymoon phase, honey. Enjoy it. But no, a real relationship is when you have to put all that work into it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, to me, a relationship doesn't happen one time. It's continual. You don't fall in love once. You got to keep falling in love.
It's like food. When you get ready to eat today, you're going to enjoy it just as much as you did yesterday, and you're going to be looking forward to it tomorrow with the same anticipation. You know, you're right. It does not change. Yeah. And a lot of people, they want magic. They just want it to be instant, you know?
Yes. Yeah, and you have to work. I always told my wife, you know, that it's about being friends, and it's also about, like, see, like think of it this way. I could have a relationship, but I could take away a lot of things. I could take away please and thank you. I could take away I love you. I could take away, you know, being nice. I can take away, you know, my understanding. I could take a lot and still have a relationship. But instead of doing that, how much can I add? How much can I be nicer? How much can I be even more special? How much can I be more caring, more understanding, more loving? What's that?
You read a book on relationships? This is really good information, okay? So really, you're very sound. This is good.
Yeah, so, and because even to this day, after 11 years, I still say thank you and please, and if she does something for me, I still...
Granted.
That's right. That's right. She does it too, but I mean, it's other people are like, why do you do that? You know, like, so it's funny. Like me and her have gone to, when we were living in near Portland, Oregon. We were going to a lesbian bar, and we would go there, and we were so nice to each other. People thought we were friends. They thought I was the gay friend because I'm also nice to women, so they thought that I must have been the gay friend that she brought, and you know, she's going to be dating women, and I'm gay. And I'm like, oh no, that's my wife. It's like, your wife? You're kidding me. I've never seen anybody like friends. Like, yeah, isn't that what it's supposed to be? We're like best friends.
Yeah. I think you could tell what kind of relationship you could possibly have when you start dating and you're into each other and you're really kind and receptive. If you continue that behavior for the next 5, 10, 15 years, you're going to have a wonderful marriage.
Oh, totally agree.
But if you go back and stop acting like that and stop appreciating, what the fuck? You have nothing there, you know? So you're right. It's not stop.
Yeah, and then also you have to be who you are, like you are. You know, be who you are up front. You say who you are. Don't put up a facade. Then they love the facade, and then it's not even you. People do that. They're like, they put up the fake them, so then the person you know is falling in love with the fake you, not even the real you.
I always tell people, I am what you see is what you get. I am 100% real. I don't have time to be someone I'm not, because it's hard just being who I am sometimes, and so I have to keep it real. I don't like games. I don't. No, be real.
Right, so are you seeing someone right now?
No.
Well, I hope this video gets you some dates.
You know where to find me. No, I'm single. I am looking. I am ready. So there's someone out there looking for some little hot Mexican little mama. Here I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I hate to go, but I must go.
Oh, that's fine. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I like you more than I did before.
Yes, I had a great conversation with you. You're a wonderful person.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being part of this project. Let me know when it's going to be available, because I want to share it with my kids.
Right on.
You're a wonderful person. And like I said, you would be a great marriage counselor.
Well, that's one of the things I was hoping to be. So thank you. I'm honored.
Have a great night.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.